tell the world to hold their breath if they're breathing the wrong air. This planet belongs to me and this hippie with long hair. This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project on this very special Mother's Day Power Project edition. The question for today is from him, H-Y-M, from London. And his question is about the pipes. He wants to know about the guns, the pipe show, and the gun show, I should say, and the pipe works. His question is about why I feel it's important to build up the pipes. He's heard me talk about it numerous times. He's heard me talk about being jacked and tan on many different occasions, and what is the importance of being jacked? What is the importance of the tan? What is the importance of enormous pipes? The bigger a muscle is, oftentimes the stronger it's going to be. Not in all cases. Some bodybuilders have done a great job of building tremendous amounts of hypertrophy while avoiding heavy weights. But most bodybuilders, I'd say especially the big dudes, the pros, you always hear people talk about being a bodybuilder, and they misrepresent the sport of bodybuilding. It's a very brutal sport, and unless you've been on stage, as I've said before, and unless you competed in a bodybuilding show, guess what? You are not a bodybuilder, my friend. You are a poser. Basically, that's what you are. Until you put yourself on the line, until you make yourself accountable for your training, and until you step on stage, you are not a bodybuilder. And you're not a powerlifter until, guess what? You do a motherfucking powerlifting meet. Okay? Now that we got that squared away, I can move forward. If you make the muscles larger, oftentimes they will be stronger. You can create better leverages. You can create better leverages by having larger muscles. Just like some guys create better leverages by being disgustingly fat and not looking like they work out. That's why some guys that weigh 330 and 340 pounds that are real short can ball up and do these outstanding things with these big squats because they're very large. They have a lot of mass in them. Don't get me wrong, these guys are very, very strong. I'm not trying to take that away from them, but they're taking advantage of their leverages, and they're taking advantage of kind of how they were built. And that's what you should actually be doing in powerlifting. But for those of you that don't want to get fat, you're going to have to make yourself jacked. You're going to have to build hypertrophy. And for those of you that have kind of long limbs, doesn't necessarily mean that you're tall, but for those of you that are long-limbed and or thin, or a combination of the two. I'm trying to get away from the sun here, but it's almost impossible. It's trying to kill me. I wish the damn thing would burn out. Somebody write me and let me know what would happen if the sun burned out. That way I can figure out what I would do in case it actually ever does burn out, but I would love for it to. Just sizzle out one day. The thing's a pain in the ass. Makes you sweat your ass off all day. It does get you tan, but nowadays you don't even need it. Anyway, it's another story for another day, I guess. But back to building up the pipes. What I would suggest to a lot of you who are thin, long-limbed, so on, is to have a separate day where you work on your pipes. In addition to your bench press day, your upper body day, try to pick a few things that you're going to do on your bench press day to build up your upper body and to build up your bench press. Rather than trying to pick like 75 different things to try to focus in on and not getting a whole lot out of much of anything because you're trying to focus on too many things at one time, simply just try to focus in on about 2 or 3 things that you'd like to do on your bench day, such as, let's say you do a heavy bench, then maybe you want to move into some heavy tricep work, some close grip work, and then maybe after that you want to try to just finish out the triceps and just smash those all on the same day. Or maybe your bench day is more of like a chest day and you just smash on your chest for the rest of the day. And then a few days later on your dynamic effort day, if you have it set up with a West Side type protocol, or if you have it set up as a cube type method using Brandon Lilly's cube, then on your assistance day you can focus in on the arms and try to blast the shit out of them. Blasting your arms and blasting your shoulders. Your shoulders are connected to your arms, oddly enough. They're all part of the same moving parts. And guess what's all part of your arms too is your forearm. So make sure that you train your fucking forearms, as the Ultimate Warrior once said. Train your forearms, build those suckers up so that you have cushion for the pushing, right? We need cushion for the pushing at the bottom of bench press. We need to create better leverages so we stop getting freaking hurt in the bench press. So if you got big guns, I refer to it as brake pads. Your biceps are a decelerator of your shoulder. Your biceps are going to help to basically shock absorb the lowering portion of that bench press. I actually kind of flex my biceps when I do a bench press. I will connect the video to this and you can kind of see. I'll post, I did a 505 bench recently and a 535 bench recently. I'm sorry, actually, I think those are wrong. I think it's 500 and 525, if I remember correctly. Anyway, two fairly heavy benches, especially for a guy who's going to compete at 242 pounds. And you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. I like to run away from tension, as I mentioned before. Some of you are very confused by this, but I like to kind of take the weights out this way. Kind of think of a bench press as not only being down this way, but down this way as well. So I'll take the weight down and down, 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 and down. Because if you just come down and out, too much stress on the shoulder, not going to be able to use the bicep as a shock absorber, going to put too much stress, too much strain on the pecs and the shoulders. You're not taking advantage of the leverages that you can create by having a big chest, by having big biceps, and by having big triceps and big forearms. You can bench that way. I'm not going to tell you that you can't, because you can, and I've seen plenty of people bench big that way. Just in my opinion, it's not the most optimal way to do it. I know some of you out there going, but I saw so-and-so bench 600 that way. Anyway, I'm just trying to say I don't feel it's the most optimal way. I don't feel it's the most optimal way. So, again, a bench press is going to be this way and this way. Why do we want to build up our pipes? Because we want to look more jacked. Why do we want to be more jacked? Because we want to lift more fucking weight. Right? Sorry for all the cussing on Mother's Day, but sometimes it's important to throw a few F-bombs in there to get the point across. I just want to do a shout out to my mother, Rosemary Bell, for being one of the greatest mothers of all time. My mother was always there for me, always very supportive. And you guys can see her in Bigger, Stronger, Faster. If you've never seen the film, make sure you pick it up. Make sure you check it out. You can check it out on iTunes. You can rent it on Netflix. It's kind of all over the place. But I just wanted to give a shout out to her, let her know that I love her, and that she is solid as a rock, and she is as tough as they come. She likes to kid around, joke around, and mess around as much as anybody else. But and she, you know, she's definitely has a soft spot like all moms do. She's always worried about, she's always worried and concerned about everybody, trying to provide for everybody, make sure everyone's safe, make sure everybody's comfortable, and all those typical things that good mothers do. But she's also one of the toughest people I've ever met. When my dad went through some really brutal health problems in the hospital, now twice, or actually 3 times now. He had cancer once, he had another issue in his digestive system, and then recently had open heart surgery. My mother, as you can imagine, was extremely stressed out, extremely upset by everything, but also tough as nails and keeping everything glued together. So, Mom, I appreciate you, I love you, and this is for you. Mwah! Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv. Sorry about the cussing, Mama.